You tell me, Jimmy.
I don't know.
What do you got?
Stack of papers is
Does somebody have a Google thing on me? Anybody have a Google story?
A Google?
Or do you want to go straight to the boobs? What about that white oak case?
What about the boobs?
The boobs is a forever story.
Well, we'll get to we'll get to that one a little bit later in the show. But let's talk about the First Amendment violators
This
out
thing
there.
here.
Yeah, with that is now somehow racist.
Yeah.
Where do you come up with that?
Made you look.
it's
White power.
Dang it.
So right there. Yeah,
Right back at you.
and that somehow the thought police are going to tell us that we can't do it. And
Yes.
maybe it may come down to being a hate crime, and because that's where they all want to go with this stuff, the hate crimes, this illegal federal criminalization that the feds again don't have any authority to write law about.
Right.
They control culture. Who is it? One of these talk radio guys always says politics is downstream from culture. Maybe it's Rush. Rush is my favorite guy ever on the radio. I mean, I know Shapiro, Neil Down, Pat Campbell. You're way better than we deserve for Tulsa. I mean, you're national level talent, but I mean, Limbaugh's the guy. Okay, Levin is trash compared to Limbaugh, and I think he's just brilliant, and he's got the right analysis. And here's the deal. They've controlled the culture for so long. I mean, Hollywood, it's just all these leftist pedos and deviants and perverts, and they've been running. I mean, look, Roman, and it's right out there. It was Quentin Tarantino, degenerate, has all of these movies, which, I'm going to admit I like some of them, okay? He's got some pretty good movies are pretty bad.
Who doesn't like a couple of degenerate movies?
But gosh darn it, it goes back to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where you got the Charles Manson murders. Well, look, it's Roman Polanski's, I think, girlfriend or wife. But look, this guy is in exile because he was raping 12 and 13-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And this was commonplace 60 years ago in Hollywood. You can't turn around with a Weinstein or a Louis C.K. or whoever that is committing these crimes against people. And so you look at them, and you look at the Clintons, you look at these Democrats, and you look at what the media has swept under the rug. With these sex trafficking instances, it has almost always affected Democratic politicians, not always, most of the time. And so it just goes back to them controlling the culture. And the culture is one of outrage, where the more offended you get, the more currency you have. The more you are signaling your virtue.
You mean like Greta?
Of leftism.
Like,
you have stolen my child and fly me around in private jets. Yeah, okay, great. She's just going to play with Roblox anyway. So, but the point is this. They've controlled the debate for so long. They've controlled the culture for so long. You've got 90% plus academics identifying as non-Republican. There are many departments at many universities where there's not a single conservative. There are many editors at most newspapers. Most newspaper editorial boards don't have a single conservative.
Right.
Your K through 12 educators, okay? Usually they're not conservative, over 90%. So we've got all these pillars of society. You've got the media. They're the PR branch of the Democratic Party, the leftist forces. You've got education. They're the propaganda. They're the indoctrination wing of the Democratic Party. And then you've got academia, and it's much the same. And so this is how they've done it. They just control the conversation. They have controlled the currency of society, and that currency is outrage. How offended can you be, and what kind of victim are you? And they all come into this confluence of ridiculous things. And they're eating themselves now, but it doesn't matter because we've identified on the show they don't use logic or reason. They can have their cake and eat it too. You're a big misogynist, you're a big sexist. However, there's no such thing as sex.
Right.
They believe both at the same time. It doesn't matter. It's all about feelings.
Right.
And so we attempt to reason with them, but it's really a fool's errand.
Yeah, I think it was Rush I heard say that it is the aggressor who defines the rules of the debate. They will lower it. They lower the level. This is where we've gotten to with this, what I call reaction shaming. What they do is the reason they have so much power is they do something below the standard of common decency, and then when there is a reaction, they say, "Aha, you're judgmental." And then, so they immediately twist it back.
Well, they do that, but they control the narrative, and people on our side, or the constitutional side is what I'm going to say, fall into the trap. They don't call them out for what they are. Like the people who are calling them anarchists, I no longer call them anarchists. I call them lawless, because they're not anarchists. They actually want no rules. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a bit with the boobs. You've got people who are making up terms, redefining things, and nobody's calling them out. Beto isn't being called out by the media for wanting to take your guns. Hell yeah, we're going to take your guns. The point is that is an act of war. And that leads into another thing that we should probably bring up, because it's caught fire just in the last day or so. This pastor who said the same thing that I've been saying for a few years is that he said that we're about to be in a civil war if these kinds of things happen.
Right.
I have said we have been in a civil war.
Cultural war.
No. It is shooting. It is shooting. People are being harmed physically. We have mandated vaccines for people being shot up. We have cops who are shooting people and arresting them and putting them in prison for doing nothing but not going along with the political program that has been mandated to us. So the thing is, we have been in this civil war for a long time, and people want to maintain their head in the sand kind of an attitude. And sadly, it's people who are running the very rights organizations who are falling into this trap, and they're perpetuating it and allowing the discussion to continue.
Wall to wall that a Bernie supporter shoots up a congressional baseball game comprised entirely of Republicans. Can you imagine what the reaction would have been if some guy with a Gadsden flag got an AR-15 and shot up a Democratic and put in critical condition a Democratic legislator?
But
we wouldn't hear the end of it. We know this because they control the media. How do you know they control the media? Well, first of all, they tell us that 93% of them identify as non-Republican, all journalists. So they told us. But beyond that, you've got the president being investigated and even being impeached for non-crimes ongoing 2 years now. Non-crimes. For talking about investigating the literal crimes of the opposition. When their crimes don't even make it past a day in the news. You've got these Antifa guys shooting cops, shooting civilians, killing people, putting people in comas for words. For words. And so, yes, there is violence going on right now. I think we can avert the greater violence by going to constitutional principles and espousing them. And joining with people on the other side, which there are some that say, hey, there should be rules. They say, look, I will reach across the aisle and shake anyone's hand that says no one is above the law. Great. And that's why I and many others, including the president himself, have welcomed the investigation of the Mueller report. He said, look, you'll find nothing. I really do, even though they illegally conducted that investigation. That's another story. And they went hunting for all kinds of stuff, tax evasion stuff that had nothing to do with the scope of the investigation, which is incredibly hypocritical as a side note when Tim Geithner and Al Sharpton and all kinds of famous Democrats that have held executive positions within the Obama administration and other Democratic administrations had not paid their taxes to the tunes of millions or tens of millions of dollars. That aside, we can shake hands and say, yeah, no one's above the law. Let's have a standard, let's have an egalitarian, you guys love that stuff, egalitarian society where everybody abides by the same rules and they're equal under the law. How about that? And let's make it fair. Let's give everyone their own fair share of the legal process.
And we mean equal under the law, not equal outcomes from the law.
Well, you'd have to know what words mean, so I'm glad that you said that. You might have
well, it's important to
some
make
leftists there.
Well, you know what? No,
I didn't say what you felt. I said what those words meant.
Well, but by the same token, the people who are watching our show need to realize these words so that they can help educate their neighbors. because this is only going to change.
Our viewers already know. You got the smartest
Well,
viewers out there, all 7 of them.
That is
they're
true.
all in,
We do have the smartest bunch.
When I watch later, it's 8.
But the hope is that this is going to get to people who aren't, the first night viewers. That it's going to get to people who are learning this stuff for the first time. I talk about these things every day, all day, to everybody I come in contact with, online or off.
It's true. His coworkers ask him to stop. He's not going to stop, guys. Chad, he's not going to stop.
All you have to do is get behind it and make it free again, and I will be happy to be quiet because I have much more things to do.
Let's tune everybody back in. Hey, this is Tom McKay here, your host with 3D Politics. I got 2 out of the 3 Davids, David Oldham and David D'Ambrosio.